is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Sun.
Steven Souza Jr.'s big bat powered the way Wednesday for the Rays, blasting 2 home runs and leading Tampa Bay to a series split with the Blue Jays. Tonight, Tampa Bay heads to the charmed city of Baltimore, where Chris Archer goes to the hill against Manny Machado and the Orioles. Tonight in Baltimore, the Rays begin their first road trip of the year. A short 3-gamer into Camden Yards, where the Rays and the Baltimore Orioles begin play tonight. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard as the Rays and the Orioles square off here. But first, the Rays happy to close out the homestand, splitting the 4-game series with the Toronto Blue Jays, primarily on the strength of that big booming bat of Steven Souza Jr.
And for the series, he hits 3 home runs. We saw a little foreshadowing of the power early in the series of R.A. Dickey going the other way, but he saved his best for the last game of that series. What a big night, or big afternoon, in fact. But I'll tell you something, the thing that was more impressive than anything was the fact how he used the whole field. Started off his first at-bat with a double into right center, then a single to left, and then the home runs straightaway center, and then the big blast right here, the 3-run home run that would give the Rays the lead that they would not relinquish in the bottom of the 8th inning. Steven Souza Jr. right now locked in at the plate and hoping to keep it going here for the Rays.
And as we see Souza loosen up on what will be a cool evening here in Baltimore, you see his numbers at Camden Yards, very impressive, including 3 home runs here. The pitching matchup tonight, a couple of opening game pitchers. Chris Tillman had his abbreviated because of rain, and Chris Archer will be looking for his first win tonight.
And this is a rematch of opening day 2015. Chris Tillman last year faced the Rays 6 times. Every series he was able to eke out 1 victory. Chris Archer, his most recent start here at Camden Yards, and he was very, very good. 6 shutout innings in picking up his 1 win against the Orioles a year ago.
Rays and the Orioles meeting tonight for the first of 19 clashes between these 2 clubs this year. We'll be back with the first pitch in just a moment. Heaters out in the dugouts tonight for both the Rays and the Orioles. Temperature right now is 50 degrees, but that will be as high as the temperature reads here for the remainder of this evening. Let's take a look at the starting lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Logan Forsythe leads it off, followed by Logan Morrison and Evan Longoria. Corey Dickerson, the DH, then Desmond Jennings in left, and Brad Miller in short, Steven Souza Jr., Kevin Kiermaier, and Hank Congers, 7, 8, and 9.
Well, the Rays lineup will be going up against right-hander Chris Tillman, making his second start of the season already. This on just 3 days rest, but abbreviated start out of the gate. Rain delays cost him in that game, but boy, was he sharp early on. 2 innings, nothing across the board to go along with 5 strikeouts on just 22 pitches.
All set to play ball. Forsythe in there. The first pitch of this game is a strike call. First pitch presented by Pinch-A-Penny. There's a look at the 27-year-old Chris Tillman. Breaking ball misses, and it's 1-1. Tillman will turn 28 on tax day, April the 15th.
Not the most memorable of birthdays.
There's a shot, base hit up the middle off the bat of Forsythe. And the Rays put the leadoff hitter on.
Well, let's take a quick look at that Baltimore Oriole defense and see how it's going to line up here tonight behind Chris Tillman, brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. In that outfield left to right, we have Nolan Reimold, Joey Rickard, and Mark Trumbo. Across the infield third to first, Ryan Flaherty, Manny Machado, Jonathan Scope, and Chris Davis, with Matt Wieters behind the plate.
Well, here's Logan Morrison looking for his first hit. He is 0 for 10 to start the year, hitting out of the second spot. And that's a spot where throughout his career he has hit well. Upstairs, the shift is on defensively, placed by the Orioles against Morrison. Runner goes, and the pitch is fouled back. So the Rays not wasting any time in forcing the issue tonight.
Well, and you know, that's interesting because Chris Tillman only allowed 4 stolen bases a year ago. That was in 173 innings, just 5 total attempts. But I think that that movement right there by Logan Forsythe had a lot to do with trying to jumpstart Logan Morrison at the plate. Get a runner in motion, try to find an open hole and get that base hit.
That's 2-1.
You mentioned, Dwayne, the numbers that he has put up out of the 2-hole. The Rays like him there because of that. Also because against right-handed starting pitching, that allows Kevin Cash to go righty-lefty, righty-lefty all the way down through the lineup.
That ball is fair. Out at second and out at first. The Orioles turn the double play.
And I think if Chris Davis doesn't attack that ground ball, that ball would have ended up foul. But he went and got it while it was still in fair territory. Go get it right there. You see that glove kick up a little bit of chalk. And then this is very, very close. But you can see he gloves that ball right on the chalk, makes a good feed, and is there for the return.
And out of that shift, the double play started by the first baseman Davis, and Flaherty, who's the third baseman, was in the middle of that. Kevin Cash out to talk with Dana DeMuth, the crew chief here, about that call. But it was right on the line, and so Kevin heads back into the Rays dugout. Longoria fouls it back. That's a strike. Evan 5 of 17. to start the year. Long one, high and deep to left, and that baby's out of here. Rays lead 1-0 on the Evan Longoria home run. His 7th home run against Chris Tillman throughout his career.
He has victimized Chris Tillman more than any other pitcher in Major League Baseball. That being number 7, that being a no-doubter on a fastball down and in, and Evan Longoria, when you talk about dropping the barrel, it was loud. Never got to its spot.
So the long ball, and the Rays are out in front. Longoria now 17 of 50 in his career against Tillman, and 7 of the 17 hits home runs. Corey Dickerson takes ball 1.
And the vast majority of those home runs, if not all of them, have come off Chris Tillman's fastball. As you can see, it's pretty straight. I mean, he's not overpowering with velocity. There's not a ton of movement to that pitch, so he has to be precise with location.
Good cut by Dickerson. 1-1. Well, the Orioles were so impressed with Tillman in that last outing, and you mentioned how sharp he was. His velocity was up as well. A couple of ticks higher than normal for him. 1-2.
Been able to power a couple of fastballs here by Corey Dickerson. The way that you'll see Chris Tillman work is he likes to work in and out. He'll elevate that fastball. He's got a pretty sharp curveball that has pretty good depth to it also, and a changeup.
Foul back. So far tonight, the fastball's been pretty steady around 93. On average, it's in that neighborhood, 91, 92. And it exceeded that in his first outing of the year that was abbreviated because of the hour-plus rain delay. Fly ball into right field. Trumbo's going to track it off the wall. It bounces away from him. Dickerson heads to second. Thought about third for a moment. When he saw that ball bound away from Trumbo, it's a double for Dickerson.
And, you know, Mark Trumbo getting time out in right field here for the Orioles. You know, this is a guy that, for the most part, a first baseman, learning this new position, learning the wall out there in right. But I'll tell you, if he plays this thing correctly off the wall, there's a real good chance he holds Corey Dickerson to just a single. But as it comes off, it bounds past him, and that allows Corey to trot into second base. With the nuances of the position.
So the first double of the year for Dickerson to go with 2 home runs. And now here's Desmond Jennings. Pitches down to Desmond. Two and 0. Desmond has had some issues against Tillman, just 2 for 21. Trying to break out of that, has a man in scoring position. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, and what we saw right there was the pitch that Corey Dickerson hit to right field, a little slider that Chris Tillman is breaking out here in the early going. The one to Dickerson was 88 down and in, and that one right there to Desmond Jennings, 86.
Two and two.
And you can see by the swing right there that this is a pitch that the Rays don't see very much of from Chris Tillman. And you had better believe there will be a lot of information sharing when Desmond Jennings, when Corey Dickerson go back to the bench.
Count's going to go full. Just with a fastball wide that time. Brad Miller is on deck. Rays with 3 hits in the inning, lost a man on a double play ball ahead of the home run by Longoria, and Dickerson followed with the double. Full count to Jennings. And he takes ball 4. Tillman thought he might have had a strike there. It came off the mound as if he was expecting the inning to end.
You can see on Fox tracks that's why. This is a fastball boring downhill. Chris Tillman thinks he's got that strike at the knees. That's a borderline pitch that went the Rays' way.
Yep, you'd have to think the Rays might have gotten a break right there. 2 men on now. And here is Brad Miller. So we'll see if Miller can take advantage of this opportunity. Looking for his first hit of the year. Into the dirt. The runners will advance. So now both men are in scoring position on the wild pitch.
Well, an uneven first inning here for Chris Tillman, and that breaking ball in the dirt. Great anticipation by the Rays base runners in Dickerson and Jennings. 2 outs, see that ball in the dirt, you're off and running, and then it takes that kind of a carom off the chest protector of Matt Wieters. And now you're in business.
Great opportunity for the Rays. One and 2.
You know, the other thing that the Rays have done, and not that they don't know Chris Tillman and what he features, but they have forced him not only to work hard, but to empty his entire arsenal. We've seen the fastball, the curveball, the changeup, the slider. Everybody getting a good look.
We had Miller out in front of the off-speed pitch to go to 1 and 2. And he strikes him out. Rays leave 2 men in scoring position. Miller down on the fastball. The Rays settle for 1 on the long home run by Evan Longoria. First home run of the year, putting the Rays out in front early. We go to the bottom of the first. Lineup for Baltimore, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Joey Ricker to lead it off, then Reimold and Machado, Davis, Trumbo, and Wieters. That's Pedro Alvarez, the DH. Schoop hits 8th and Flaherty 9th.
For Chris Archer, it's all about a quick start. Pitching with a lead will help out that department.
And his first pitch is a strike.
Well, big strikeout numbers, 12 in 5 innings of work. It was a tough first inning that really limited how deep in the game that Chris Archer could go. But for his 5 innings, he certainly showed how dominant he can be.
The Toronto series, a big strikeout series for the Rays pitching staff. That's a strike on the outside edge, and the count to Joey Rickard is 1-2. Rickard, a Rule 5 pick by Baltimore out of the Rays system. And he's off to a great start. Not only did he make this team, but he's 5 of 11 now. And picked up his first big league home run in their game last night against the Minnesota Twins.
A little bit of breathing room. That's late in the ball game. The 8th inning, elevated fastball, and he popped it out of here. Just to think, you know, Dwayne, a year ago, and by the way, yes, a curtain call from the Hardy fans that were still left here on a chilly night and a wet night. But a year ago, he was a Charlotte Stonecrab.
How about that?
How about that? Talk about the fast track.
By the mound is short, picked up by Miller, and the throw safe at first base. Well, the young outfielder getting down that line in a hurry. Kevin Cash comes out of the dugout to just put the umpiring crew on notice that he'd like to get just a little information, and it decided not to challenge this.
Well, softly hit. That forces Brad Miller to have to charge it, make the scoop, and throw on the run. And Rickard's speed a little bit too much.
Nolan Reimold. Too high with that pitch from Archer. Reimold 2 for 4 in the early stages of this season. Again, 2-0. The start Archer made opening day against Toronto, he had difficulty in the first inning with pitches up.
And he typically, when he's up on purpose. Elevated fastballs.
Second base, Forsythe out. Miller's throw to first. Double play.
I'll tell you what, that was a way to get out of it. One pitch, a nice turn by the Rays middle infield. Let's take a look at the rest of that defense and see how it's going to line up here tonight. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. In the outfield, left to right, Desmond Jennings, Kevin Kiermaier, and Steven Souza Jr. And across that infield, third to first, Evan Longoria, Brad Miller, Logan Forsythe, and Logan Morrison, with Hank Conger back behind the plate.
Now Manny Machado. Machado's at shortstop tonight. A couple of adjustments to the Baltimore lineup. Pitch is low, a ball to no strikes. Machado originally a shortstop, a Gold Glover at third. There's a strike. It's 1-1. A ball, 2 strikes. Buck Showalter, the skipper of this Baltimore ball club, in his 7th season now as their manager. The Orioles coming off last year 81 and 81, finishing 3rd, just ahead of the Rays, who were at 80 and 82. Soft tapper, and that ball is a foul ball. Longoria tracking that one, and as he put that glove down, realized it was going foul and pulled that glove back up.
Boy, that was a headsy play. Let's see, this ball going to track right down the line. Not a lot of room between the foul line and the grass. And you can see right there at the very end. And you know what? You had better be right, because if not, that's a double. Easy double, but Evan, boy, he had a great view of this coming up the line, starting to hook, and right there saw it hit the grass and said, forget it. Boy, what a close call.
And a lot of confidence in the positioning of Ed Hickox, the third base umpire, to make that call. It's popped up, foul. Conger chases it, but he's out of room.
I mean, that really is a gutsy play, because you're risking giving up a double. That's a guaranteed double. It's going to roll past third base in no man's land, and Machado's going to be out at second base, all because you see that thing bounce a little bit to your right and figure it's going to miss the bag by a hair. And like you said, Ed Hickox is going to get the call right.
Machado fouls it back. His matchups against Archer pretty healthy. Look at that, 8 of 19 with just 1 strikeout. Archer lifetime 2 and 4 against Baltimore with a 444 earned run average. He covers 9 appearances, 8 of those starts. It's a full count on Machado.
A pretty good pitch recognition right there on Manny Machado's part. A pretty nasty put-away slider, and he was able to take it for the ball.
This is the 9th pitch of this at-bat about to be served. And he strikes him out with the fastball. Orioles go down without a run at the end of an inning, 1-0 Rays. Rays picking up a 1-0 lead early on a first inning home run by Evan Longoria. We'll They'll send Steven Souza Jr. to the plate, who settled the final game of that series against the Blue Jays on Wednesday with a 4-for-4 day, including 2 home runs. He leads off the second. Here's the big one. The 8th inning home run. 3-run shot. He's ahead of the count here, 2-0. As you mentioned in the open, everything he hit in that final game of the series off his bat, 100 miles per hour or more.
How ironic that the fastest off the bat was the single. Not the 2 home runs, not the double, the single to left at 114, or I mean, it was something ridiculous off the bat, but he was absolutely mashing the baseball.
Takes a strike, 3-1.
And that's why we talked a little bit in the pregame show. I think that's why pitch recognition is the most important thing for Souza Jr. because he's got strong hands, very quick hands. So if he recognizes the pitch, he can launch.
Now it's a full count.
But you're getting a look from Chris Tillman that the Rays haven't seen before, that little slider, and he's gone to it quite a few times here in the early going.
Over the mound, backhanded. Scopes throw's not going to be in time. Souza can get down the line and has himself an infield hit.
Well placed. Steven Souza Jr., for being a big man, can run and cover some ground. Once you get this up the middle by Tillman, it's just in no man's land, and it's way too long of a throw for Scope. He's going to beat this out easy.
Leadoff man aboard for the 2nd straight inning for the Rays. There's Kevin Kiermaier. The Rays hope for, and when you look at this lineup, you're seeing some of that here in the early part of this game. They may not always hit the ball out of the ballpark, but they've done a pretty good job of that in the last couple of games. But it's a kind of lineup that every hitter up there has a chance to extend the inning.
You can move it along. You can start to build things, create big innings.
It's going to be a foul ball. And so I think that's one of the encouraging signs, although the Rays in that Toronto series, they only led in the whole series for a couple of innings.
Yeah.
A couple of comebacks to win it. But you can start to see, and again here in the early stages of this game, where they have an opportunity maybe to have the kind of team that could build an inning, certainly more than was the case last year. And it was frustrating, frankly.
You'd get to the spots in the order last year where it was just a big dead spot. 3 or 4 hitters that were either all going bad at the same time, or just didn't have the skill set to get it done consistently.
Scope out in second. Machado still to first. In time, says Dana Dubuque, and they get the double play.
And that is not easy with Kevin Kiermaier from the left side, and the way that he gets out of the box. Kevin Cash, too, he's taking a look at this one to make sure. But if you're going to get Kiermaier, it's got to be bang, bang, and this one was. I mean, just by a nose, or a toe, or a spike.
So Kevin out in front of the dugout there and says, nope, we took a look at it. You got it right, Dana Dubuque. So the bases are empty on a close play at first. Nicely handled by Scope and Machado. And here's Hank Conger. Conger's 2 for 6 on the year. Upstairs 2-0. You know, to watch Scope and Machado up the middle. As we mentioned, Machado came through the minor leagues, came up as a shortstop, has become a Gold Glove third baseman, but you know he'd love to play shortstop. He's a broken bat roller out to second. Well, Conger is retired. Rays get a hit, do not score, and lead 1-0 through an inning and a half. Fox Sports Sun is brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory Ram. By Lazy Days RV, your RV authority. By your local Toyota dealers, let's go places. And by Furman, the Bay Area's first name in Chevrolet. Here at Orioles Park. Davis leads it off. It's a high shot deep to center, sending Kiermaier to the wall, and that one is gone. Davis turning that one around and hitting his second home run of the year.
Well, since 2012, Chris Davis has hit more home runs than any other slugger in Major League Baseball, and he just adds to the total there. He's got power from foul pole to foul pole, wasted little time in that at-bat, going straight away center field. And what Chris Davis wants to do is he wants pitches that are below the belt, where he can get extension and drive out over the plate. That's what happens.
Led the major leagues with 47 home runs last year. And he picks up his second home run of this year and the second home run he's hit off Archer. It's a tie game.
The thing that these elite power hitters have going for them too is they don't have to try to hit home runs. They're so big and strong with smooth swings that they know if I just catch a ball flush, it's gonna go. And so they don't have to try to generate power, try to do too much. They can stay smooth and clean and easy, and the ball's going to jump.
2 strikes the count on Mark Trumbo. Tapper up the first baseline. Archer thought about trying to let it roll foul, and by the time he decided to pick it up, he had no play.
A little bit of indecision right there cost Chris Archer. It's going to be a tough throw for him to make anyway, being a right-handed pitcher, making that play up the first base line. He's going to have to throw over the top of Trumbo and also make the decision. Is this going to go foul? Too late.
It's going to be a frustrating game. He's given up 3 hits. One, the no-doubter by Davis, and the other 2, the ground ball to short, and then this little roller up the first baseline.
And how does that little roller that's rolling on the dirt between the grass and the foul line hop up onto the grass and stay fair? That you usually do not see. Once that ball is wide of the grass, it's wide of the grass. It's not going to bounce its way back up on top of the grass.
If anything, it's going to hit the edge of the grass and roll foul.
Ask Evan Longoria.
Conger with a scoop. The count is 1-1. Peters 2 for 8. He has a double through the first series of the year. The Orioles against Minnesota. Orioles came out of the Minnesota series with 3 wins, 3-0. Rays out of their series with the Blue Jays 2-2. That is the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And he strikes out Wieters. First strikeout, or second strikeout for Archer, first out of the inning.
Matt Wieters, I think the eyes got big because this was a hanging slider. And fortunately for Chris Archer and the Rays, it hung up above the strike zone. Well, that's the kind that where hitters wait all evening to get a hanging slider, but that one just a little too far up.
Pedro Alvarez. Another big scoop there by Conger. 1-0.
Tell you what, he can be wizard-like with the glove. Pitching staff loves throwing to him, and then you come up and make a play like that. A very, very difficult scoop.
Trumbo at first on the infield hit. It's 2-0.
Trying to work a little bit soft to Alvarez early and try to get him to chase, because Pedro Alvarez is a dead red fastball crusher. Just trying to give him a little bit different look, but it's put him behind in the count, 2-0.
Serving as the DH. Ground ball. Out at second. Miller's throw to first, and they're going to get the double play. Started by Forsythe, 4-6-3 to retire the side. A run on the home run by Davis. We're tied 1-1. To area agencies working to support our veterans. Duke Energy, powering Florida with more than just energy. They're supporting our veterans and other local charities too. Raise up.
You know, speaking of raising up, right there, see, busted. Tampa Bay Rays gear, top to bottom, Baltimore Oriole gloves. I saw it when we flashed by the first time. There you go. That, you know what that is? You get to the ballpark.
That's exactly
right. Your hands go
where
down.
You're going.
You're like, oh man, I got to go to the gift shop. You end up at the Orioles team store, and listen, they're not selling Rays gloves.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. He admitted it there. That's right.
I want to get something for that nose. It's turning red too.
Yeah, and red would not be a Rays color.
No, I don't think they sell red here. I was down doing the pregame show with Todd, and it's not warm.
It's chilly.
It is. Very.
If you like this, just get a load of tomorrow. Colder, rain, snow, all of that in the forecast.
I will be going somewhere to get a pair of gloves, not Oriole gloves.
Count is full to Logan Forsythe. Forsythe, Morrison, and Longoria. Foul. That's going to drift out of play. So we'll see another 3-2 pitch. Well, we have a chance. I want to give a big shout out and get well to a great Rays fan in the hospital at St. Anthony's. Tish McMahon, just a great fan from the beginning. Loyal Rays fan, a little under the weather, doing better now, and we're glad to hear that. And watching our game tonight. Ball 4 to Forsythe, and the Rays put the leadoff man on base for the third straight time here against Tillman.
You know how hard it is for a pitcher to get into a good rhythm when you go out there, you warm up, you start out in the windup, and immediately you go right to the stretch, and now you're pitching under duress. And that's what the Rays are doing right here to Chris Tillman, pushing him just a little bit.
Logan Morrison is in too high. Morrison grounded into the double play. 3-5-3, his first time up there. Shift is on again with Flaherty, the third baseman, in the normal second base spot.
It's right there. Machado right there. See if they sent Forsythe again like they did in the first time they were in this situation.
So now up in the count, 2-0.
And that's interesting too, because there was a little bluff there by Logan Forsythe, and Ryan Flaherty was the one that was going to cover the bag coming from an odd angle. Well, these shifts, they're very good against the hitter, and obviously the data spells that out, but then you have some interesting responsibilities that go along with it.
Good cut, fouled it back. And after the fastball there, 2-1.
Well, Logan Morrison needs something good to happen for himself, for the team, just so that he can then take a deep breath and go to playing baseball, relaxing just a little bit. Probably putting too much pressure on himself. New team, expected to contribute in a big way.
He did go. He thought he checked. And Mike Estabrook, the plate umpire, says he went around.
I think that's what Logan Morrison was asking. Did you call it on the swing, or were you calling it by itself? You could see right there that bat head a little too far.
strike 3 call.
That right there lets you know that right now Logan Morrison, there's a lot going on in his head, because you will not see him very often take a fastball that's out over the plate. He's a very aggressive hitter, and here with 2 strikes, this is about center cut as you can get, right down the heart, thigh high. That's a pitch you pray to get.
Now Evan Longoria. Well, Evan jumped on a fastball his first time up and hit it deep into the seats and left. Out of play. Count is 1-1. Our Buick GMC big matchup. Updated numbers following the home run. 340 with 7 home runs and 4 doubles in their matchups.
That is damage. That is damage. You talk about seeing the ball out of a pitcher's hand and being able to handle it with authority.
2 now. Here's the first inning home run.
Trying to come in with the fastball. Look at the reaction of Matt Wieters.
Going again.
Loud in his ear.
Run 4 hits for the Rays off Tillman. He's walked a couple men. Also has a couple double plays behind him. Longoria gave it a look and checked. 2-2.
He followed that off-speed pitch down and off the plate. Almost pulled the trigger, but good recognition at the end allows him to hold up and get another pitch to work with.
Lines it foul, out of play. One ball game. Rays a run in the first on the Longoria home run. The Orioles are running the second on the Chris Davis home run. Count is full. Tillman last year was 11-11. He struggled some early and then got on a stretch in early June through about the middle of August where he was very, very good. Put together a 7-game winning streak during that time period. Runner goes. The pitch popped up on the 3-2 2-out pitch. Or 1-out pitch, I should say, and it's popped up, handled by Machado. So Forsythe back at first with 2 gone.
Yeah, they were trying to get something going there too. You've got a hitter at the plate that has had a lot of success off Tillman. Forsythe down at first base. So you put him in motion. You're trying to create something, and ends up being an infield pop-up.
Well, here's Corey Dickerson. Dickerson doubled off the right field wall his first time.
And I expect Chris Tillman to go back to that fastball. You know, he was able to power a couple past Corey Dickerson in that first at-bat, then tried to finish him off with a little slider down and in, and Dickerson roped it off the wall and right. So look for more of the hard stuff in this AB, at least to start it off.
way. Dickerson's second home run of the year came Tuesday.
Yeah, Corey Dickerson is not going to get cheated. I mean, he swings hard.
Ground ball for the shortstop. Machado's throw to first against the top of the third. Game tied. Rays 1, Baltimore 1. The Rays and the Orioles tied a run apiece. This week only T-Mobile customers can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.TV Premium. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now and catch every moment on America's fastest-growing LTE network. Rays a run in the first, Baltimore a run in the second. Jonathan Scope will open the bottom of the third against Chris Archer. Scope 3 for 10 with a couple doubles to begin the year. He wound up hitting 15 home runs last year and hit 279. It's a ball and a strike. Ball, 2 strikes. Ball right field. Caught out there by Souza Jr. Ryan Flaherty. The Orioles lineup a little different without that guy. Adam Jones, a little rib issue, and there was some talk that it might be an oblique, which would not be good news for the Orioles. They're hoping that that's not the case. And they're also without J.J. Hardy. We're talking about calf bothering him, but he's had some back issues in the past, and last year lost time with the shoulder. So those are 2 key members of this lineup, Hardy and Jones. They would dearly love to see both those guys healthy for the long haul.
Well, Adam Jones really is the lifeblood of this team. Center fielder, high energy guy, obviously very productive offensively and defensively. And then J.J. Hardy, he's your solid shortstop, makes all the plays. He said this year his shoulder was feeling better, so he was hoping that that power was going to come back a little bit. Those would be 2 big losses if they were to miss an extended period of time.
Ryan Flaherty up in the count, 3-1. Count goes full now with that foul ball towering the front part of the upper deck.
Is it me or does it feel like Ryan Flaherty has been a member of the Orioles organization for like 25 years?
And he comes up to bat in every inning and plays every position.
He's making plays out at second when he's supposed to be playing third.
Yeah. And a swing and a miss. He's out on strikes. So 2 up and 2 down. 3rd strikeout for Archer.
Another slider. This one again stays up in the zone just a little bit. Not the, you know, when we see Chris Archer, how often last year when we talked about his slider, it looked like a curveball. You know, he was throwing that thing 88, 89, sometimes 90 miles an hour with down tilt. It had curveball look, slider speed. And we've seen a couple of here today he's gotten away with that have not had a whole lot of break at all.
Yeah, that one more of a spinner than a slider. But he got the strikeout. And he's ahead of Joey Ricker to strike. The rookie outfielder beat out a ground ball to short in the 1st inning. So he's 6 of his first 12 in the major leagues. Headed up the middle. He stays hot. 2 for 2, a 2-out single in the 3rd.
Well, what a story he has been, being taken in that Rule 5 draft. The fact that he forced this team to put him on the roster. You know, sometimes these younger Rule 5 guys, well, let's see what we have. As you see him go right back up the middle, stays quiet at the plate, and hammers that ball back up the middle for a base hit. But he had an outstanding spring training. In fact, I think in the Grapefruit League, he was the top American League hitter in average.
Well, the Rays knew he was a pretty good player. I mean, they just found themselves in a situation. He starts and stops, and the pitch is a strike to Nolan Reimold. You know, you have those meetings, and you go, well, we got to solidify the 40-man roster.
Right.
And you know there are going to be some players that you can't always protect. He turned out to be one of them.
I think that the Rays probably thought, with his relative youth, that you could probably slide him by 1 more year because he was so young and started the year last year in Port Charlotte, the Stone Crabs.
Yep.
Ended in AA, and so you're thinking, he's not quite ready to make that jump. Well, thus far he's proven otherwise.
And he's put together some pretty good numbers. Last year, he kind of accelerated what he did. Ball and 2 strikes now. But you know, wherever he went, his numbers jumped. I mean, for example, Charlotte last year 268, Montgomery 322, and then a handful of games at Durham he had 360. Now he comes to big leagues, he's hitting 500. It's a trend.
There's no ceiling for this kid.
2-2 now, the count on Reimold. Well, that Rule 5 draft is a funny element associated with the game because You draft that guy, you've got to keep him in the big league roster all year. Reimold is out on strikes. Man left on. We go to the fourth. We are still tied 1-1. For the cold, and the Rays are on the bench in there, tied 1-1. Rays fans, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can now stream games live on your mobile device. Just go to your app store and download the free Fox Sports Go app. Log in and stream the Rays wherever you go. Desmond Jennings leading off the fourth. Pitch is a strike. Well, Desmond walked his first time, one of a couple bases on balls the Rays have drawn against Tillman. They've had some base runners, but still just the one run on the Longoria first inning homer. 2 strikes now. Orioles had an interesting year last year going in. You know, in 2014 they won 96 games, and then they lost Nelson Cruz and Nick Markakis. There was some concern about that, and they actually wound up scoring more runs last year with the team they had than the team the year before with Cruz and Markakis when they won 96 games. But pitching, their starting pitching became an issue.
They were 14th in the league in ERA at over 4.5, 4.53.
Jennings out on strikes. Well, here's your chance to get a steal, Rays fans. Tonight's steal of the evening features an exclusive Rays shirt with any ticket purchase to the game Friday, April 15th versus the White Sox. Available tonight only, so visit RaysBaseball.com/steal now or call 888-FAN-RAYS for more information. Rays up.
No gloves, but a warm hat.
Brad Miller lofts a high pop fly near the left field line, and that going out there is Machado, who made that play almost routinely. Had some hang time, but he had to cover a lot of ground. And Miller is the second out of the inning.
Boy, did he ever. Look at him, and he's shaded up the middle. And look at the ground he has to cover. That ball seemingly hung up there forever. and able to close out in foul territory. Dwayne, there's only one other shortstop I know of that has that kind of range. Back home, no one's going to know. Slater Shove. He's got that kind of range.
Really?
From the shortstop position, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, little guy, flies.
Back home?
Oh, yeah, back home. Only other guy that makes that play.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Machado is really something special.
Oh.
To watch.
He's a third baseman.
Yeah.
Playing shortstop and still covering more ground than anybody.
Souza Jr. This is at its 1-1. And you really get the idea that he would love to be at shortstop all the time. You know, have a favorite position, come up, shortstop, really good. Win a couple Gold Gloves over at third. You got a pretty good shortstop next to you right now, and Hardy.
Right.
When he's healthy.
Well, and in the back of his mind, he's thinking that there'll always be time to move back to third. You know, while I'm young and spry, let's do some shortstop.
Up the right side, will that ball stay fair? It's a foul ball. Two outs, bases empty.
I think the one thing that we both found impressive with Manny Machado is even a couple of years ago when he was such a baby in the game, his baseball IQ is very, very high. I mean, he understands the game, has a great feel for the game.
Every once in a while you see a player, probably more in infield than anybody else, they just seem to show up where they're always supposed to be, and there's a reason for that. They're just that good. Souza's out on strikes. 1, 2, 3. It's tied 1-1.
Cards were last year when Chris Archer was on the mound. Kevin Kiermaier made perhaps the finest catch in Rays history, and it's commemorated in a bobblehead that will be given away to fans next Saturday, a week from tomorrow, at Tropicana Field. Guys, it's courtesy of Dex Imaging. It's one of the coolest bobbleheads we've seen. It's got the wall, it's got the platinum glove that Kevin Kiermaier won in the offseason, and of course it's got KK soaring over the wall. Kiermaier robbing Machado last year, and he was awarded both a platinum and a gold glove by Rawlings. He actually wears the gold glove. He says he usually wears one glove during the course of the year, and he got the gold glove earlier in the spring, so he decided to go with that one. But what a play it was to help Chris Archer in his last start here in Baltimore, guys.
Well, there was no question what a great catch that was. You know, that by Major League ballpark standards, the fence here is a relatively low fence, but with his leap and his reach, he's going to make that catch in just about any ballpark you want to name. High pop-up here by Machado, and it's caught by Morrison to start the bottom of the fourth.
you know what struck me about it was that was a line drive. You know, it wasn't a fly ball where you had time to get yourself back to the wall and then time to jump. You know, he had to move quickly because that ball was blistered on a line. But then the timing that he shows on a ball that's crushed, and at the apex, at the very highest point, that's the only way that play could be made, and he's probably the only guy that can make it. Ridiculous. And the reactions of both him and Chris Archer, and probably anybody else that had a camera on him, are priceless too.
It never gets old.
No.
A play like that never gets old. You can't show it enough. Well, there you go, the gold and the platinum right there. Todd outlined.
Do you ever wear the gold glove? Or is that just kind of like you have it there to, you know, you put it in?
Well, let's take a look. Right there.
Where's the gold?
There's the gold right there. He got that first.
You know what? Here's the thing. Staying humble. Always, there's that one next step.
Just wear the gold.
Yep. Keep it in eyes view. Take it out on the field to keep me humble. How about the gold glove keeps you humble because you're the platinum glove guy?
Good flash of platinum.
Good.
He's gone with the gold.
Blue collar.
Yep. Well, he's a Central Time Zone guy.
Well, literally blue collar right now too.
Yeah. 1-1 to count. Well, Chris Davis tied this game with a home run in the second. 2-1. And it did appear for a time the Orioles might be without him, and then they signed that big deal with him. But it did look they got Trumbo, but well, they might have to do something else, and then made the deal with Davis.
Yeah, their deals were late. You know, Chris Davis was out there for a while. They signed him, and then into March, they signed Pedro Alvarez. They bring in Giovanni Gallardo in late February to try to bolster the starting staff, because as we talked about last half inning, the starting staff was a thorn for Buck Showalter last year. One of the lowest ERAs or highest ERAs in the American League.
He's up. Fastball out of the zone. Archer gives up the walk, his first allowed tonight. 1 on, 1 out. Here is Mark Trumbo. Trumbo had the infield hit his first time.
And this lineup is built to damage your mistakes, make you pay for mistakes.
Strike.
We've seen here in the early going, Chris Archer, his last 3 strikeouts have come on sliders, swing and miss sliders, and probably Chris Archer's not happy with any of the 3.
Strike down around the knees.
Get back to executing pitches, and that was great downhill playing on that fastball to put Trumbo in a hole.
Foul back. Well, Chris Davis, who walked over at first, different at bat than in the second when Archer went at him, but Davis went right back at him and hit one out on the first pitch he saw. Archer walks him in this inning. Now 2 strikes to Trumbo. Trumbo last year with Seattle and Arizona. Fly ball center field. Kiermaier there to make the catch. 2 outs.
Let's take a look at Chris Archer and kind of a sprinkling here of his night so far. This is a fastball, didn't get it far enough away. Chris Davis gets good extension. He's got that kind of power. He's going to follow that up with a couple of strikeouts, but these are the sliders I'm talking about. Chris Archer, he's happy with the result. He's not happy with the pitch execution. I guarantee you that, because those are sliders that over time you just are not going to be able to get away with. You'll take those strikeouts in those spots, but you're going to try and get that pitch better.
He faces Matt Wieters. Wieters struck out on a slider his first time up. Hard hit, foul. It's a ball and a strike.
You know, here's the other thing that's kind of interesting is when watching, you know, Chris Archer here in tonight's ball game, and, you know, maybe it's the weather. I'm not sure what the reason is, obviously, but the velocity has been down just a little bit. We've seen more fastballs in that 91 to 93 range. The slider has been 85, 86. Both of those are down, you know, 2-3 from what were normal. I mean, how many times last year did he have 95+ mile-an-hour pitches and the number would be, you know, 32?
And 2.
That slider at times would approach 90. You know, and it's early in the season, and some of your power pitchers build into their velocity, and maybe that's happening here. That was a nasty one right there. You talk about getting a slider and making it better.
Out of play. You know, toward that point, you know, some pitchers, and you know this so well, some pitchers aren't affected by cold weather at all, and some are. Just an individual thing in terms of feel and command of pitches as a result of cold weather.
And I think really cold weather benefits the pitcher more than anybody else, because you get loose and you're making a pitch, you know, all the time, and so you know, you think about the fielders right now, they're out there dancing around, moving around, trying to keep themselves warm and ready. With a pitcher, once you get loose in a cold weather game, you're fine. You're fine. You stay warm in between innings, and when you're out there, you're constantly working, so that body temperature is constantly up there. It may take you a few extra pitches to get loose, but once you're there, you're usually golden. But like anything else, everybody handles different situations.
Two.
It's Jets weather. That's about right.
48 degrees. Cold and breezy tonight.
And when you take 48 degrees and you add in a 16-mile-an-hour wind, that feel-like temperature is going to be down in the low 40s at best.
Just a piece of it, and it's foul. Baltimore coming in 3-0. 3 wins over the Twins. The Rays dividing the 4-game series against the Blue Jays 2-2. And by the way, the Padres managed to score some runs. Now this one in the dirt is going to bounce away from Conger. Davis moves into second base. Wild pitch.
Get the runner into scoring position now, trying to get on top of that slider, trying to make that adjustment, get that good depth, and it looked like it hit the front of the plate. Took an odd bounce off of Conger.
The Padres, who had not scored to begin the season, put 13 up on Colorado. Another foul ball out of play to extend this at bat by Wieters. San Diego beat the Rockies 13-6. Base hit. Davis heads to the plate. Throw cut off. 2-1 Baltimore. Well, on the 10th pitch of that at bat, Wieters hit it up the middle following the wild pitch that moved Davis into scoring position. And score he did.
Well, he took advantage of the wild pitch, and Matt Wieters took advantage of seeing a lot of pitches from Chris Archer. There's a certain comfort level that comes in when you see that many pitches and you get a fastball here you can handle, and he just goes right back up the middle with it.
Now 2-1. Pedro Alvarez. Archer got him to ground into a double play. His first time, just trying to get him to end the inning. There's a strike. Two. Alvarez for Pittsburgh last year hit .243. Ball, 2 strikes. Archer just a little over 70 pitches right now. Out of play. Pitch at bat. Wieters against Archer resulted in the RBI single. Alvarez 1 and 2. Scope on deck. Tap first base side. Morrison steps on the bag to retire the Orioles, who take the lead on the RBI single by Wieters. Tonight's Geico Great Moment. It was on this date in 2005. The Rays defeated Oakland in 10 innings, 3-2. Joey Gathright, then Nick Green with a broken bat walk-off base hit, driving in Gathright. Green's first hit is a double ray. All set up by Joey Gathright. We saw Gathright in a highlight the other day.
Making things happen, Dwayne. Speed to burn.
Speed, yep. Speed will do that.
Was he the guy that jumped over the car?
Yeah, that was
another highlight.
Yep.
Need to get that one on.
It's Kiermaier with a popper foul out of play. 0-2.
I mean, you better be sure when you go to make that jump, because if that toe clips the hood of the car, the roof,
yep.
I mean, goodbye teeth.
Yep. Yeah, there are a lot of stories from those days. Some truer than others. A ball, 2 strikes here on Kiermaier. Rays find themselves down 2-1. Facing Chris Tillman. They had some opportunities early in that first inning. They kind of let him off the hook. Settled for the 1 run on the Longoria homer. A couple of double plays in the early going. Kiermaier hustling down the line, and the throw to first. Scope just got him.
Well, that just goes down as a 4-3, but you see the kind of pressure that Kevin Kiermaier puts on the defense. I mean, that was just a rollover ground ball, but because of his explosion out of the box and speed up the baseline, it forces Scope to have to make a tremendous play just to get him.
Here's Hank Conger. Pitches down. You know, we mentioned the Padres finally scoring some runs in a big way. But Trevor Story hit 2 more home runs from out of nowhere. He has 6 home runs for the Rockies. Two 2-0.
It seems like every season somebody from out of nowhere does something like that. But what a start to the season. What's he on pace for now?
Well, he's what,
212, something like that.
2-1 the count here on Conger.
Or more than that, up in the mid-2s. It's pretty good pace.
The tap to the right side, the little flip to first. So 2 gone. They had Ryan Flaherty handle that one out of the shift. On MLB.TV Premium, it's the #1 live streaming sports service, delivering everything you've come to expect and even more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Follow the story on that as well. Logan Forsythe has been on twice with a single and a walk.
I've got the number for you, Dwayne. He is on pace for 243 home runs. 243. And I believe, and I have to go back and look it up, but I believe that would be an all-time record. It's off the top of my head.
Got a chance. Rays will play the Rockies this year in interleague play. So we'll be out there sometime down the middle of the season.
National League West.
Yep. So maybe we'll see where Trevor Story is then.
Well, if he's still blazing hot, that's where it comes to an end. This pitching staff goes in there and serves notice.
Close pitch there to Forsythe. 1-2.
There's a couple of members right there. Jake Odorizzi, Matt Moore. Staying warm. I mean, they got the triple layer going. Jacket, hoodie, sleeves.
Two outs, bases empty, top of the fifth. 2-2 the count to Forsythe. Find a place close to that heater.
MVP. That's the MVP right there.
And Forsythe misses the pitch up. 1-2-3, go the Rays. 2-1 Baltimore. The air. Bottom of the fifth from Baltimore tonight. Great to have you with us. Opening game of this series. Here's our Toyota inside look. And, you know, Chris Archer last year finished a game under 500, a club record 252 strikeouts. And when you put those two items together, it comes up with this list.
And there's some accomplished pitchers on that list. And Nolan Ryan a couple of times. Well, he set the all-time standard.
Well, here's Jonathan Schoop delivering one into the Baltimore bullpen on the first pitch. Schoop hits his first home run of the year, and it's now 3-1 Baltimore.
This is a pitch that Chris Archer has gotten away with a number of times in this ball game, and it's the hanging slider. This one, not so much. You see another one right there, kind of staying on the same plane. Not a lot of depth to it, a lot of break to it, and Jonathan Schoop all over it.
Flaherty fouls it back. Schoop being congratulated by Machado.
Well, that's what this team does. Built around the home run. When you start to break down the Baltimore Orioles and look at how they score runs, you know, this is a team, basically the same team from last year, except you add Trumbo and Alvarez, and they're that kind of hitter, the power type hitter. They don't steal a lot of bases. They had the fewest in the big leagues last year. They don't hit a lot of doubles. They don't walk very much. It's all or nothing.
And the strikeout right there on the slider.
And we just saw that. All with Schoop, and then nothing for Flaherty. And that's how they're built. A lot of punch outs, but a lot of home runs.
And the one thing they did run out there last year was a great bullpen, led by O'Day and Britton.
Yeah.
Wow.
Talk about two different styles. Lefty, heavy sink from over the top. Darren O'Day from down under.
Rickard hits it on the ground. It's short. Miller throws him out. So strikeout and a ground out following the home run on the first pitch here.
Brad Miller making this throw just a hair low, but Logan Morrison, nice job of bailing him out.
Nolan Reimold 0 for 2. Ball, no strikes. Two and 0. Well, for Archer tonight, giving up 3 runs, 5 hits, he's walked a man, and has been touched for 2 home runs. Reimold drills this one deep into center, and that one is gone. Reimold hits his first home run of the year, and it's 4-1.
Well, right now, for Chris Archer, the fastball just doesn't have that late jump at the end. These are the types of fastballs that get popped up or swung through. Nolan Reimold here is able to go out with some extension and drive that pitch. Not a lot of movement on it. I'm going to drop it on the other side of the wall.
Machado. Ball, no strikes to Machado here, who has struck out and popped out. There's a shot back into left, and that's going to get out of here. So Machado hits the 3rd home run of the inning off Archer. It's now 5-1. Well, they're catching up, or catching on to that slider that's a problem.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the normal depth, and none of the pitches have the normal velocity, and they're starting to, you see right there, another one that just hung in the middle of the plate. And like you said, they are catching on and dialing in.
Scope hit the slider. Reimold hit a fastball, and Machado just hit a slider. Chris Davis bounds the pitch. He's been on twice. He homered in the 2nd inning, walked and scored in the 4th. So 4 home runs tonight for Baltimore. Two and 1. Eight hits for the Orioles. 4 have been for home runs. And Archer is now behind Davis, 3 and 1. Skips this one to the backstop, and walking Chris Davis. Jim Hickey's headed to the mound.
You're trying to settle your starter down and give him some encouragement. It's been a rough inning here for Chris Archer. And that's the understatement of the night. 3 home runs in this inning. It's not over yet.
Mark Trumbo will be the 7th man to come to the plate in this inning. Eddie Romero up in the bullpen now for the Rays. Starting to get loose. Trumbo takes it down. Base hit. Out of the reach of Forsythe. Davis will go to third. First and third. And the parade of Baltimore hitters continues.
They just continue to get pitches out over the plate and make solid contact. Mark Trumbo, a hitter that is built. He's got a long swing. He wants to get extension, but at the same time, he does a nice job of staying inside the baseball, which is what he did right there, and was able to rifle that ball by Logan Forsythe.
Now Matt Wieters, who singled in a run. He had a prolonged at bat in the 4th inning. 10 pitches and finally singled home Davis. Fouls it back.
Let him see that pitch again.
Well, he saw a number of pitches to hit in that 10 pitch at bat too, and finally got a base hit. One and one. Deflecting off Archer. He's headed to first. No play there. A run scores. Davis crosses the plate. Trumbo up to second on Wieters' base hit that deflected off Archer. And the Rays will want to check Chris Archer over to make sure he's okay. That makes it a 6-1 game.
Nightmare inning just continues to. That ball was a breaking ball, smoked right back up the middle. There was no way for Chris Archer to get out of the way of this, just tracking him. And he was able to talk his way to stay in this ball game, though. Telling manager Kevin Cash that he was good to go.
He says he's all right. And thank goodness for that. As we know, that is a scary moment. We've witnessed a couple of those over the last few years.
You're so vulnerable. There's no place for you to go, and that ball's coming back at a high rate of speed. You're right. Still out there.
Pedro Alvarez pitches up. Alvarez, the 9th Baltimore hitter to come to the plate in this inning. It's a fly ball toward left center. Kiermaier's there to make the call. They sent 9 men to the plate, the Orioles do, and put up 4, 6-1 Baltimore. Through the front 5. Rays grabbed an early lead on Evan Longoria's home run. Missed some other scoring opportunities off Chris Tillman. In the meantime, in the second inning, Chris Davis tied it for Baltimore. They picked up another run in the 4th inning and then went to town in the 5th, sending 9 men to the plate. Jonathan Schoop homered. Nolan Reimold homered to the right of straightaway center. Manny Machado took a slider deep to left and hit it out. Before the inning was over, 4 runs across the plate, making it a 6-1 ball game.
And that's what this lineup is capable of doing. We talked about it early in the game. They are built to make you pay for your mistakes, and there were some mistakes made by Chris Archer with location, and it can happen that quickly.
TJ McFarland will take over on the hill, the left-hander for Baltimore, and his first pitch to Logan Morrison is a strike. Morrison is 0 for 2.
Well, this could not have set up much better for manager Buck Showalter. First of all, you've got Chris Tillman on the mound tonight, coming back a day early because of an abbreviated start on opening day, and you're able to get him through 5 clean, 5 good innings with a lead like this.
And a base hit. This one toward left center, cut off out there, and a big turn at first by Morrison. He's going to hang right there, picking up his first hit of the year. It comes against a lefty, and it leads out the 6th inning.
Well, you try to make a move now before you get to that back end of the bullpen. Now that you're in it, it does a nice job of staying in, keeping that front shoulder, that front side in on the lefty McFarland's delivery to the outer half, and then shoot it into the gap. Nice job by Rickard to keep him to a single.
It's Evan Longoria. Foul back for a strike. Two. in the 6th. Rays have put the leadoff man on base in 4 of the front 6 innings, but so far have scored only when Longoria hit the home run in the 1st. It's 1-2.
And those are the situations that over the course of the season, the Rays are going to have to do a better job of. I mean, leadoff base runners, the percentage at which they score compared to any other time during the course of an inning, very, very high, and just not able to take advantage.
Well, you figure you've got a 50-50 chance when you put the leadoff guy on base. But the Rays have been unable to convert that tonight. Meanwhile, a tough evening for Chris Archer. 6 runs allowed, 4 home runs, including 3 in the 5th inning. Two on Longoria. The team record, by the way, for most home runs allowed in an inning is 4. And that was set by Travis Harper back in 2005. Most home runs allowed in the game, 6. James Shields in Toronto in August of 2010. It's a foul ball. So the Rays trying to battle their way back, down by 5 in the 6th. Just foul back, so we've got an 8-pitch at bat going right now for Longoria. Count. Dickerson due to hit next. Down to third. Scope 1, first base not in time. Morrison forced at second. It goes 5-4. Flaherty to Scope. Longoria reaches on a fielder's choice.
Now this is just too many long throws. Flaherty's got to get that all the way to second. You see Scope doing the best that he could to try to get it and get rid of it, but Evan Longoria able to beat it out, keep the Orioles from turning 2.
Dickerson with a double and a ground ball to short. Garland last year, a left-hander out of the bullpen, was very tough against lefties. Less so against righties. A big cut and a miss for a strike.
Well, Buck brings him into this situation where you're not going to pull Logan Morrison out of the game, so he's going to get a lefty there. You're going to have to deal with Longoria, which he did, and then you go right to Corey Dickerson, another lefty that is probably not going to come out at this point in the game. Play the matchups.
1-1 the count. the inside part of the plate. Runs the count to 1-2. Rays have been out hit 10-5. Tonight when they missed some opportunities early against Tillman. And on a night when Chris Archer was not sharp the way you hope to see from him. Archer battled on, stayed in the game after that shot by Wieters. Got through the fifth. It was a 9-batter fifth inning. Still 2-2 on Dickerson. Tap charged by Flaherty. He'll take this to first. Longoria moves into second. 2 gone now. This week only, T-Mobile customers can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.tv Premium. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now and catch every moment on America's fastest-growing LTE network. Desmond Jennings to face the lefty. Desmond with a walk and a strikeout tonight. Fouled the fastball back there. Strike one. Evan Longoria on second. He's been down in the count. Now, right-handed hitters posted a .375 average off McFarland last year. Lefties just .232. Desmond behind in the count. Shortstop Machado. Throw to first in time. Rays get a hit, do not score, leave a man. Bottom of the 6th coming. 6-1. Baseball on Fox Sports Zone is brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by your Southern Chevy dealers. Camden Yard, Memorial Park, Baltimore, Maryland. First game of the 3-game series. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning on a cool night. Eddie Romero will replace Chris Archer on the hill. Romero will face Jonathan Schoop. Pitch is a ball. Schoop opened the bottom of the 5th with a home run, and that led to a 4-run inning. 1-1.
Oh, the Rays very hopeful that Eddie Romero is finally starting to turn that corner. Consistency with delivery, release point. We know he's got the stuff. He can command the stuff, throw strikes with the stuff. He has a chance to be very successful.
And they've tried to streamline him to make his delivery as basic as possible to take advantage of that great left arm that he has.
Well, he's got that fastball that he can get into the mid upper 90s at times. A very good slider, a changeup that we just saw.
Count is full. Have to make another 3-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. So he comes back to get Schoop to start the inning on a mid-90s fastball.
Well, when you then have that kind of velocity on a fastball and it's on the inside corner, you know, hit it with 2 strikes, they're looking for something away, and you get locked up. You can't even pull the trigger. And it's right there. Tip your hat.
Flaherty. Two ball, no strike count. Of that one, it's 2-1. Take the count to 2-2. Romero in here. He takes the count full to Flaherty. Went 3-2 to Schoop, got him. Popped up. Sky high on the infield. It's Logan Morrison. That big first baseman's been handles that one. So 2 gone. The interesting thing about Eddie Romero, we talked about his control issues and the progress he's made there. When you look at the breakout last year, lefty righty, left-handed hitters hit .391 off him, and right-handers 266.
I don't think that those numbers will stay there for long, but it speaks to, you know, against lefties he was pretty, you know, standard run-of-the-mill, going to attack you with that fastball, but so often he was behind in the count. And the left-handers that you're going to leave in the game to face him are your better left-handed hitters.
Yep.
So if they're 2-0 all the time, well, there you go.
One ball, one strike. Still hot on a cold night to break that down. Nice going.
Got to refresh with the coffee.
2-1 the count. Bundled up in Baltimore for the first game of this series. Joey Rickard is 2 for 3 tonight. Off to a quick start to his major league career. He's hitting .500 for the year now, 7 for 14. Down to short. Miller throws him out. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Guinea Romero. We go to the 7th. 6-1 Baltimore. Seventh. Shot out at Utah Street here, the right field side of the ballpark. Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live. The pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Feature on Rays pitching coach Jim Hickey. And we'll hear from Drew Smiley, who will be the starting pitcher tomorrow in the second game of this series. Mike Wright, the right-hander, scheduled to pitch for Baltimore. See Drew all bundled up. We'll be bundled up here tomorrow as well. Cool weekend in Baltimore.
Yeah, tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow is the day. It's a light rain in the morning, a steady rain moving into the afternoon, mixed in some snow flurries, and winds they're saying between 25 and 35 miles an hour. You get yourself a ball game.
Well, Brad Miller fouls this pitch away from T.J. McFarland, strike one.
He's got it right.
Yeah, lightning.
The winner had lightning in the baseball jacket.
Scope picks it up. Miller's the first out in the seventh inning. Steven Souza Jr. Souza's 1 for 2. Base hit back in the second inning in his first at bat. Gets his first look here. TJ McFarland. Fastball by him. Five strikeouts in the Rays lineup tonight. All at the hands of Chris Tillman, the starter, who pitched 5 innings. Barland came on, worked the 6th, now here in the 7th. It's a 2-1 count. Blue Jays at the end of 5 have a 7-2 lead over Boston, and Josh Donaldson is in that game, by the way.
Had to leave the game early against the Rays with the calf issue just 2 days ago.
Roller to short. Machado moves him out. You can imagine that John Gibbons probably had a battle on his hands if he wanted to keep him out of the lineup. Sunday, UFC Fight Night returns to FS1. Heavyweights will rule the octagon as Ben Rothwell takes on former champion Junior Dos Santos. Plus, Gonzaga battles Lewis. It's all Sunday at a special time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, only on FS1. Watch it live on Fox Sports Go. One strike to count on Kiermaier. Kiermaier down 0-2. We're talking about Donaldson getting into that lineup tonight. And what does he do? A grand slam.
That's why manager John Gibbons would have had a battle on his hands. Guy says if he can feel like he can play, you got to get him in there, and look how he comes through for you.
Back to the mound. That'll do it for the Rays in the top of the 7th. 1, 2, 3. 3 ground balls against McFarland. It is 6-1 Baltimore. On a cool night in Baltimore, the Rays opened the scoring on the home run by Evan Longoria, but 6 unanswered runs so far have scored for Baltimore. They've out-hit the Rays 10-5 and lead it 6-1. The Orioles have also hit 4 home runs tonight. Chris Davis hit 1 in the 2nd inning. Then they hit 3 in the 5th. Scope, Reimold, and Machado all homered. We're headed into the bottom half of the 7th inning. Baseball is back on FS1 as Adrian Gonzalez and the Dodgers battle Buster Posey and the Giants tomorrow. It's all on America's home for baseball all season long. FS1. Watch it live on Fox Sports Go. A 1-2-3 6th for Enny Romero. Now to open the 7th inning with Reimold, Machado, and Davis due up. Baltimore came into this game 3-0, taking 3 from the Minnesota Twins. Well, they have built this lead on the Rays tonight here. Rays with 2 shots left. Romero trying to hold the Orioles and give the Rays a shot.
How does
it's
he
not
do
cold
it?
For that guy.
Well, not right now.
Hey, if you're brave enough to wear those pants, the bibs, bib overalls that way, if you're brave enough to do that, you're brave enough to stand out there in 46-degree temperature while others are wrapped up this way. Nolan Reimold at the plate. Takes that pitch down and in. One and one. 5 innings for Archer, 97 pitches, 6 runs, 10 hits. Two and one. Two. Game briefly Monday against the Blue Jays. Picked up a strikeout in the 3rd of an inning he worked. An inning on Sunday. A scoreless inning there with a strikeout. 1 inning tonight, and now he's 3-2 with Reimold. Up. It's Logan Morrison. So Reimold pops out to the first baseman, 1 away.
Oh, with Enny Romero, it's nice to have that velocity. When you talked about the Rays streamlining his approach, you remember when he was pitching out of the windup, you know, there were times where he was turning. I mean, almost giving you a borderline Louis Tiant type of delivery. And, you know, just inconsistent with command. And so what they said is, listen, you've got a great arm. Get directional towards home plate. He now pitches out of the stretch exclusively. And that's allowed him to kind of streamline that command. Also worked on it this winter in winter ball. Trying to come into spring training with a full head of steam.
A little tap to shortstop. Miller up. Machado's out. 1 pitch. 2 outs in the 7th.
That's going to be one of the storylines for the Rays. With Brad Boxberger being out for, maybe the next month and a half with the injury. Who's going to step up in the bullpen? A lot of guys are going to get tossed around in roles they maybe have never filled before. And so you're going to have to have a group that steps up and really holds the fort down, because you love the idea of the Rays starting rotation. You need guys at the end to finish things out for you, and Romero could be a big part of that.
Coming out of that Toronto series, Kevin Cash and Jim Hickey talking more about the bullpen. In the spring when Boxberger went down, the questions were asked, what are you going to do to compensate? How are you going to handle it? And it was pretty much a mix and match then. They just essentially reiterated that, thinking that Colomé, because of the strong arm, might in a way be a favored pick down there. But they even qualified that early on by saying, look, he may pitch the 9th, but he may be asked to pitch some in the 8th, even the 7th, depending on matchups. And I think matchups going to be the key out there for that bullpen. Unless out of that somebody emerges head and shoulders above anybody else.
When you can imagine some of those scenarios, a close game, 7th inning, couple of runners aboard, that's the most important part of the game. If you don't get that right, the 9th inning doesn't matter because you're going to be losing.
Yep.
So those are the scenarios you'll see Colomé try to shut the door there, and then you've got to play the matchup game after that. Danny Farquhar is a guy who had 16 saves, 16 out of 20 a couple of seasons ago. He's got closing experience.
Two outs, base is empty, full count on Davis. Towering fly ball. Sousa Jr. under it. And that takes care of Baltimore in the 7th. We're headed into the 8th. 6-1. Rays baseball on Fox Sports Sun is brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. By Checkers, fast foodies know the deal. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Oriole Park at Camden Yards in Baltimore tonight. Cool evening. Temperature in the 40s right now. Rays facing the left-hander T.J. McFarland in relief. Chris Tillman. Hank Conger, switch hitter, will turn around to hit right-handed against McFarland. McFarland opening his 3rd inning in relief. not altogether unusual for him. He's had some outings before of extended length. Fly ball into left. Reimold is there. One gone in the 8th. We've talked about Rickard and the Orioles picking him in the Rule 5 draft. McFarland was the guy they got in the Rule 5 draft. They got him from the Indians a few years ago.
You try to unearth talent wherever you can find it. I think a guy is close to being able to make the jump. You pick them up. You know, they go through the spring training and they're not you know, going to make your team. You can offer them back to their original club. Almost a no harm, no foul to try to find a gem.
Yep. I think you have to do is make a decision and then find room on the roster for them. And frankly, there aren't many times that you do that, but obviously Rickard off to a great start here, and McFarland has turned out to be a guy who stuck with the club after they picked him from the Indians a few years ago, and has been a part of their bullpen. He strikes out Forsythe.
Well, it's a nice piece to have too, because the way these bullpens are built now, all about matchups. You know, you see a lot of guys coming out, they go no more than an inning, maybe an inning and a third. So you need to have someone that is out in your pen that can give you some length and save that pen. You know, in a game like this where Chris Tillman comes out after 5 with a pretty, you know, substantial lead, he can go 3 innings. You know, if it's a blowout game, starter gets knocked out early, you don't have to eat up your pen. McFarland can give you 3 or 4. And those guys are valuable in their own way.
It's a ball and a strike. Broken bat. For the first, in time to get Morrison. He's beating it down that line. 3 up, 3 down.
Right.
Yep. So we're headed into the bottom of the 8th inning in Baltimore. The Orioles leading the Rays. They've used the long ball to do this. Coming up on Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers. Take a look at the home run barrage put together by Baltimore. We'll hear a bit from Kevin Cash in his postgame press conference. All coming up. Todd Callis will be checking the clubhouse for interview possibilities. Xavier Cedeno in the ball game now. Archer, Romero, and now Cedeno. Mark Trumbo. Trumbo 2 for 3. It's a strike. Cedeno follows Romero in his 2 innings. Archer worked the front 5. Cedeno ahead of Trumbo. Lefty getting his first work. Boy, he was a busy man last year for the Rays and an important part of their bullpen.
Well, he's another guy that the Rays streamlined, and not so much with his mechanics, but with the pitches that he features. Going to the breaking ball and the cutter primarily. Nothing straight, everything moving. Very effective.
Back of the bag. Long throw from third. Trumbo is the first out. Longoria takes care of him.
Got to back up this ground ball right down the line, play that hop, and now you've got a long throw to make, and it's right on the money. What's new?
Matt Wieters has driven in 2 of the runs tonight. It's 2 for 3. Ball, no strikes. To third again. And Longoria a bit more routine this time. A couple of ground balls thrown by Cedeno.
Well, everything that he features is moving down towards the ground. You know, when he does throw an occasional sinker, and I mean occasional, and then the cutters moving down and away to the lefties, down and in on the righties. The curveball, of course. So you would expect Cedeno to be a guy that does get a lot of ground balls.
The designated hitter, Alvarez. Alvarez 0 for 3 on the night. To the right side, another ground ball. Handled by Forsythe. So 3 ground balls, 3 up, 3 down. Evan Longoria will lead off the 9th for the Rays. As we go to the ninth, the Orioles lead the Rays 6-1. And Evan Longoria will lead it off. Dickerson and Jennings to follow against right-hander Brad Brock, the third pitcher for Buck Showalter's team. Evan opened the scoring with a home run in the first, and that's been all the scoring for the Rays. It's got a play up the right side. Toyota lets go places. That home run extends the franchise record to 19 consecutive games in which the Rays have hit a home run, dating back into last year, September 20th against the Orioles. Fly ball lifted into left, and that is caught by Nolan Reimold. One gone.
Well, once the Baltimore Orioles were able to wrestle control of this ball game away from the Rays, they really have gone to work on this Rays lineup and had some pretty easy innings. Not much of a threat in trying to crawl back into this game here tonight.
Now their threats came in the first half of this game. Double plays in the first 2 innings.
Yep.
Did not help the Rays' cause.
Seemed like the first half of the game that you're talking about, that the leadoff man was aboard every inning, had chances. Chris Tillman was going from the windup to the stretch right out of the gate, and 1 run on the board, and that wasn't even on manufacturing it. That was on a home run.
Dickerson was thinking about one there.
Oh, that was a very good changeup by Brock. And way out in front, just cannot wait back long enough.
And that's a big pitch for Brock. His numbers against left-handed hitters are good.
Well, he creates some deception. He's got a little crossfire action. He pitches from the first base side of the rubber. And then close on that fastball. But you can see he can get it up 93, 94, 95, and then that changeup to go along with it, and the breaking ball. Buck Showalter likes to have a lot of different styles of pitchers coming out of his bullpen, and Brad Brock's another one of them.
Stays away off the plate. It's now 3-1. Desmond Jennings on deck. Ball 4. Dickerson draws a walk. Well, McFarland didn't walk anybody in the 3 innings he gave up 1 hit and picked up a strikeout. Tillman walked a couple men. That's the first walk the Rays have picked up since Forsythe opened the 3rd inning with a walk, and now a 1-out walk in the 9th. Dickerson at first. Here is Desmond Jennings. Desmond 0 for 2. Tillman 5, McFarland 3, and now Brock. Brad Miller on deck. Now,
this is not what Buck Showalter wants to see out of Brad Brock. Good stuff, different style, but can have command issues.
It's a strike taken by Jennings, he was ready to head to first on that pitch.
Yeah, he was right, too.
Why not?
I mean, this is the old 3-0 gimme strike, and he's standing right over top of it.
Down the left field line, foul. Distance, but well foul. Just like that, we're back to a full count.
He did not throw a pitch in the strike zone. Not one. And ends up coming back to get him. Tied him up. This one up in the zone. You look for Brad Brock's deliveries down in the zone. This one up and in, and you can see the swing by Desmond just all tied up.
Well, here is Brad Miller. Get back, strike one. Miller was struck out, fouled out, and grounded out tonight. Fouls this one out of play. The first game of this 3-game series in Baltimore. With you tomorrow, 6:30. Bruce Smiley and Mike Wright the matchup tomorrow. Down to second, uncontested goes Dickerson. As the count moves to 1-2 on Miller. A little over 17,000 on a cool evening in Baltimore. Ground ball right side, picked by Davis. The toss to Brock, and that ends the game. We'll get a base runner on a walk and leave him in the ninth. They will strand 5 tonight as the Orioles take the first game of this series 6-1. We'll be back with the totals in a moment.